Coming up, an incident in Corbin involving a group protesting Senate Bill 150 is referred to the FBI.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. A group protesting Senate Bill 150 more than 1 week ago in Corbin has found themselves in the middle of a social media firestorm. They tell us they've received backlash and threats, but also plenty of support after a viral video showed an intimidating incident they encountered. Kelsey Soto talked to the group now that the altercation has been referred to federal officials.
A.J. Anderson was born and raised in Corbin. She grew up in and around the church with her nose in a Bible.
My mom is a firm believer, God-fearing woman, that everyone has their judgment days and our sins are ours to bear. So she's like, I might not agree with it, but I respect you and I love you, and my job as a Catholic is to love you through your journey until you are with God.
But she says the behavior she saw last weekend in her hometown was anything but Christ-like.
I question it every day, whether I should keep going or, quiet down. But if I don't, who's gonna be the one spreading the word?
We showed you video last week posted to social media of an altercation at a peaceful protest against Senate Bill 150 at Sanders Park. The human rights group says they were approached by two men, one of whom passed out KKK cards and brandished a weapon.
This has been a very frightening thing to happen. We've had a lot of threats come through. We've had online threats. We've had people calling. We've had people even texting members of our families.
Now, Corbin police say they have reviewed Kentucky law and even discussed with state police if any statutes apply in this situation, and they've come up empty. On Monday, the case was referred to the Federal Bureau of Investigations, but it's unclear if any charges will be filed. Trent Osborne tells me he's grateful the situation is being taken seriously.
It's time for Corbin to wake up and enter the 21st century and start to grow and start to welcome more people so that this town, this city, and people here can grow.
The group says they're always open to civil discussions, but they won't tolerate violence of any kind. They simply want to live peaceful lives in a city they love. In Corbin, Kelsey Soto, WKYT.
The group is planning another rally on June 24th from noon until 4 at Sanders Park. They say this time they will have the proper permits and have had conversations with law enforcement about their constitutional rights to assemble. Now to some breaking news out of Pike County. State police say a road could be closed for several hours due to a crash. This is on East Shelbyana Road near the Millard Bridge. 2 vehicles were involved. We do not know anything about injuries or fatalities yet. We will update this story when we know more on WYMT.com. A shelter-in-place order was lifted tonight after a shooting involving an Olive Hill police officer in Carter County. It happened this afternoon on Short Street. This is video of the officer being flown out. Police say the shot came from a wooded area. The officer was flown to a hospital in Huntington with a non-life-threatening arm injury. Now, it's important to note we've also learned tonight that the officer was not actually shot, but he was injured by glass after his cruiser was hit. Businesses in downtown Olive Hill were placed on lockdown for a couple of hours following the shooting. No arrests have been made. Now, police say the suspect vehicle seen here is a 2008 white Pontiac Torrent SUV with Kentucky plates ACH 811. If you have any information, you should call state police.
Peaceful night throughout the region tonight as we continue to watch temperatures slowly head back into the 50s out there. After a cooler day around the region, we stayed in the 70s in many spots today and already falling into the 60s tonight. The view from our station here in Hazard, 61, the current reading here. We'll continue to see those temperatures slowly fall throughout the night. Already upper 50s, Manchester, Somerset, London's at 58, 57, Jonesville and Grundy, and 55 in Wise. Satellite and radar, just a few of those clouds trying to sneak on through parts of the Kentucky River Valley into southwest Virginia, but no big deal out there. For the most part, dry skies expected tonight. Your forecast first as you pour your frosted weather wheats in the morning, or the cereal of your choice, but I highly recommend the Frosted Weather Wheats. Low to mid-50s out there as we start things off in the morning with some of that patchy fog. Again, we're going to have to keep an eye on it mainly during the overnight and until we can really get the sunshine in here to start burning that fog off. It's something we're going to watch, especially in the river valleys. Steve, I'll have the very latest on the potential for more showers later this week in just a few minutes.
Evan, thank you. Storm cleanup is underway in Pulaski County. Strong storms yesterday knocked down trees and hail caused damage to homes and vehicles. Crews were called out to clear trees blocking roads in the neighborhood off Patterson Branch Road. People we talked to there say the storm started with hail and then turned to strong winds. Paula Roy says a neighbor's tree fell onto her home.
I mean, I was scared. I was never been in anything like this before. We've had bad storms, but this was bad.
No injuries were reported from the storms. Pulaski County officials say they also caused some minor flash flooding in some areas. One couple that was evacuated during the Friday night fire in downtown Hazard says they are restarting their lives for the second time in the past year. Travis Piper and Althea Stamper lived in the building that used to house the Treehouse Cafe, which is next to the apartment building that burned, and it also had to be evacuated during the fire. Last year, they lived in a Knott County home that was destroyed by the July 2022 flood. Stamper says they felt helpless after the flood.
We couldn't get no help because we was renting a tiny house out of like a building place, and we didn't own it. We didn't own the land, so they just wouldn't help us.
Stamper and Piper, along with other fire victims, are being housed at a nearby hotel through this week. Former President Donald Trump is set to appear at his arraignment in federal court in Miami on Tuesday. CBS's Skylar Henry is in Washington with the latest on the charges against the former president.
Former President Donald Trump arrived in Miami for Tuesday's historic appearance in a downtown federal court. Just miles away, Trump supporters gathered outside his golf club.
There's no doubt in my mind that he should not be behind bars from everything that I've heard in the media.
The indictment, handed out Friday, contains more than 3 dozen charges. It accuses Trump of illegally retaining classified documents after his single term in the White House and obstructing efforts to retrieve them. Prosecutors say some of the documents concern U.S. nuclear weapons programs and contain details about military activity and capabilities of both the U.S. and foreign countries.
This was a risk to national security beyond calculation.
Republican Senator Mitt Romney says the situation could have been avoided.
The country is going to go through tumult as a result of one thing. President Trump didn't turn over military documents when he was asked to do so. All he had to do was hand them in.
Security will be tight to maintain the former president's safety, and he's encouraged supporters to join a protest planned at the courthouse.
We're going to be using a unified command approach.
Inside, Trump will surrender to authorities and face the first federal criminal charges against a former or current U.S. president. Sources close to his legal team tell CBS News they expect Trump to plead not guilty. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
After his court appearance in Miami, former President Trump is set to deliver remarks on Tuesday night to supporters at his golf club in Bedminster, New Jersey. Today at the state capitol, an important moment for families of victims who have been killed or left permanently disabled by people driving under the influence. Melanies Law allows a judge to order a person convicted of a DUI to pay child support to the families of the victims they either killed or left permanently disabled, like Melanie Hull, who was hit by a drunk driver in July 2022. Her cousin and Senator David Yates sponsored SB 268 in honor of Melanie. Melanie's family, including her mother and 8-year-old son Nolan, stood by Governor Beshear today as he signed this bill into law.
But I'm sad that Melanie can't be here. She's totally disabled, unable to speak for the most part other than yeah or maybe no once in a while. Can't do anything for herself, but this is a true legacy for her.
Her son Nolan is a survivor of the car crash that left his mother permanently disabled. Melanie is currently fighting for her life in hospice. For almost 4 decades, the Scott Rose Foundation has served the people of Kentucky. The foundation has funded many projects for disabled children and adults. Hundreds of thousands of dollars have been spent to help families in various situations, but now the foundation will stop operating. Scott Rose Foundation Treasurer Lawrence Kuhl says he's thankful for everyone that's contributed through the years.
We were so gracious to have a lot of people that contributed and came from all the other areas to play in our golf tournaments, our softball tournaments over the years. I had volumes of pictures out here of a lot of these activities that we had to raise money.
Kuhl says they've decided to stop operating for many reasons, such as many board members not living in the area. He says the board decided its last project was putting a playground and musical park that is handicap accessible. A recent state champion in baseball is soon to be sharing his voice at the State Board of Education. R.J. Osborne received a call last month from the Department of Education and was officially announced to be the next student representative last Tuesday. Osborne says he's excited for the opportunity and believes it gives him a chance to improve his school in Whitley County.
Well, I think that it gives me an opportunity to help my school become better, and the things that I've been part of FFA, been a part of baseball, and helping the different types of students that I've been with, and I think that's a great opportunity for me.
Osborne says he's most looking forward to seeing how things are taken care of from the state level. To hear more insight from RJ and his family, you can find the full story over on our website. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, a new book looks at how the pandemic affected healthcare workers in Appalachia.
And we'll continue to watch the potential for some showers later this week. Breaking it down in a minute.